Hi everyone, welcome to the Living Your Life channel. Today, I'm going to share 10 life-changing minimalist rules that helped me declutter my home and find peace. As I simplified my home and life, I figured out a few rules that not only made decluttering easier, but also helped me heal from the past and make space for all the good things in life. So, if you're looking to improve your life, click that subscribe button. You might just find the inspiration you need to finally declutter your home and find peace. 1. The Iceberg Rule. This rule suggests that most of the clutter is invisible and it represents things like negative emotions and limiting beliefs. Have you seen an iceberg floating in the ocean? What you see above the surface is just the tip, right? Well, that's exactly how the Iceberg Rule applies to clutter. The visible mess in your home, the piles of clothes, stacks of papers, and scattered knickknacks, that's just the tip of the iceberg. But what lies beneath the surface? That's where things get really interesting. The Iceberg Rule suggests that the majority of our clutter is actually invisible. It's not the physical stuff we can see and touch, but rather the emotional and mental baggage we carry around. These are the negative emotions, limiting beliefs, and unresolved issues that weigh us down just as much as, if not more than, our material possessions. Think about it. How many times have you cleared your desk, only to find it cluttered again a week later? That's because you haven't addressed the underlying issues causing the clutter in the first place. Maybe you're holding on to papers because you're afraid of forgetting important information. Or perhaps you're keeping clothes that don't fit because you're not ready to let go of the past version of yourself. 2. The Equivalent Exchange Rule. This rule suggests that everything has a cost, and you should consider the cost of owning something before you buy it. Now, you might be thinking, equivalent exchange? Isn't that from an anime? And you'd be right. But while the concept might sound familiar to Full Metal Alchemist fans, we're applying it to something much more practical: your everyday life and buying decisions. The Equivalent Exchange Rule suggests that everything has a cost, and I'm not just talking about the price tag. Before you bring something new into your life, this rule challenges you to consider the total cost of ownership. It's about recognizing that when you gain something, you're also giving something up in return. And often, it's more than just money. Let's break this down with a real-world example. Say you're eyeing that shiny new smartphone. The Equivalent Exchange Rule asks you to look beyond the dollar amount and consider, what else will this phone cost you? There's the time you'll spend setting it up, learning its features, and inevitably troubleshooting issues. There's the mental space it'll occupy as you worry about damaging it or losing it. There's the environmental cost of manufacturing and eventually disposing of it. And let's not forget the opportunity cost. What else could you do with that money and time? But don't worry, this isn't about making you feel guilty for wanting nice things. The Equivalent Exchange Rule is a tool for empowerment. It's about making fully informed decisions so you can curate a life filled with items that truly enhance your existence rather than weigh you down. 3. The Poop Rule. This rule suggests asking yourself if you would be willing to clean poop off something before you decide to keep it. Let's discuss this amusing yet insightful guideline for decluttering. This quirky principle encourages us to consider the long-term commitment of ownership by asking a rather unconventional question. Would I be willing to clean poop off of this? While it may sound harsh, this rule prompts us to honestly evaluate whether an item truly sparks joy or might become a burden. It applies not only to physical objects like gifts from relatives, but also to digital clutter, such as unused apps and unread emails. By extending the poop rule to these virtual aspects of our lives, we can free up mental space and create a more serene, streamlined experience. The next time you're tempted to hold on to something, try applying this rule. You might be surprised at how much easier it becomes to let go and simplify your life. 4. The OneTouch Rule. This rule suggests putting things away immediately after you use them to avoid clutter. The OneTouch Rule is elegantly straightforward. Put things away immediately after you use them. Sounds easy, right? But let's explore why this rule is so effective and how it can transform your home and habits. Picture this. You come home after a long day, toss your keys on the counter, drop your bag on the floor, and leave your shoes by the door. Harmless, you might think. But these small actions are the seeds of clutter that can quickly grow out of control. The OneTouch Rule challenges you to rethink these habits. Instead of dropping your keys, immediately place them in their designated spot. Hang up your bag and put your shoes away. By touching each item only once, you prevent the buildup of clutter before it begins. But the benefits of the OneTouch Rule extend far beyond a tidy home. It's a mindset shift that can reduce stress and increase productivity. When everything has a place and is in its place, you spend less time searching for misplaced items and more time focusing on what truly matters. Imagine never again frantically searching for your car keys when you're already running late. Implementing the OneTouch Rule does require some initial effort. You'll need to establish homes for all your belongings and build new habits. For instance, you might start by focusing on one area of your home, like your entryway, before expanding to other spaces. The OneTouch Rule also pairs beautifully with other organizational methods. For example, it complements the KonMari method by ensuring that items that spark joy are always neatly stored. It aligns with minimalism by encouraging you to be more mindful of the items you bring into your space. 5. Put function before form. This rule says that you should focus on functionality over aesthetics when decluttering your home. Now, I know what you're thinking. But I love my stylish throw pillows and that quirky lamp I found at the flea market. Don't worry, we're not here to strip your home of personality. Instead, we're going to explore how prioritizing function can actually lead to a space that's not only more organized, but also more beautiful in its own right. The put function before form rule is simple in theory, but revolutionary in practice. It suggests that when decluttering and organizing your home, you should focus on how useful an item is rather than how it looks. This might sound counterintuitive in our Instagram perfect world, but stick with me because this approach can transform your living space and your life. Let's start with a common scenario. You're standing in your kitchen, surrounded by gadgets and utensils. That avocado slicer might look cute, but when was the last time you used it? Meanwhile, your trusty chef's knife is buried in a drawer because it doesn't match your kitchen's aesthetic. The function before form rule would have you keep the knife front and center and bid farewell to the rarely used avocado slicer. 6. The Ben Franklin Rule. This rule says that everything should have a designated place. Now, you might be thinking, that's just common sense. But stick with me, because there's more to this rule than meets the eye. Benjamin Franklin, one of America's founding fathers, wasn't just a politician and inventor, he was also a master of productivity and organization. His simple yet powerful principle has stood the test of time, and today we're going to explore how it can change your life. The Ben Franklin Rule goes beyond just tidying up. It's about creating a home for every single item you own. Imagine walking into your house and knowing exactly where everything is. But here's where it gets interesting. The Ben Franklin Rule isn't just about physical objects. It can be applied to your digital life, your work responsibilities, and even your thoughts and ideas. It's a holistic approach to organization that can boost your productivity, reduce your stress levels, and give you more time for the things that really matter. 7. The 30-day rule. This rule suggests waiting 30 days before buying something to avoid impulse purchases. Sounds easy, right? But in our world of one-click buying and instant gratification, this rule is a game changer. Imagine you're scrolling through your favorite online store and you spot that must-have item. Your finger hovers over the Buy Now button. But wait. The 30-day rule steps in like a wise friend, gently suggesting you take a breather. During those 30 days, something magical happens. The initial excitement fades, and you start to see the potential purchase more objectively. Will it really add value to your life? Do you actually need it, or was it just a fleeting desire? You might be surprised how often that must-have item loses its appeal after a few weeks. But don't just take my word for it. We'll dive into fascinating psychology behind impulse buying and how this simple rule can rewire your brain for more mindful spending. But the 30-day rule isn't just about saying no. It's about making space for intentional yeses. By curbing impulse purchases, you're freeing up resources for things that truly matter to you. Maybe it's that dream vacation you've been putting off, or investing in a skill you've always wanted to learn. 8. The use it or lose it rule. This rule suggests getting rid of things that you don't use. This principle is all about brutal honesty with yourself. Take a look around your space. How many items do you see that haven't been touched in months or even years? That pasta maker you swore you'd use, the exercise equipment gathering dust, the stack of magazines you'll read someday. We all have these items lurking in our homes. The use it or lose it rule challenges you to confront these unused possessions and ask yourself a simple question. Do I really need this? This rule isn't just about decluttering. It's about freeing yourself from the mental and emotional weight of unused stuff. Every item you own demands a piece of you, whether it's space in your home, mental energy to keep track of it, or guilt for not using it. By letting go of unused items, you're literally making more room in your life for what truly matters. 9. The one in, one out rule. This rule suggests getting rid of one old item for every new item that you bring into your home. This principle is your secret weapon against clutter creep. The concept is simple. For every new item you bring into your home, one item must go out. It's a powerful way to maintain equilibrium in your space and prevent the slow accumulation of stuff that can lead to overwhelming clutter. But the one in, one out rule is more than just a decluttering technique. It's a mindset shift. It encourages you to think critically about every purchase and addition to your home. Do you really need that new sweater enough to part with one you already own? Is that new kitchen gadget worth giving up counter space for? This rule transforms you from a passive consumer into an active curator of your space. 10. The 5-minute rule. This rule suggests setting a timer for 5 minutes and committing to work on a decluttering project. This little gem is perfect for those of us who feel overwhelmed by the prospect of decluttering. The concept is beautifully simple. Set a timer for just 5 minutes and commit to working on a decluttering project for that time. That's it. Just 5 minutes. Now, you might be thinking, what can I possibly accomplish in 5 minutes? You'd be surprised. The beauty of this rule is that it breaks the inertia of procrastination. Often, the hardest part of decluttering is simply getting started. By committing to just 5 minutes, you lower the barrier to entry and make it easier to begin. And here's the kicker. More often than not, once you start, you'll find yourself wanting to continue beyond those 5 minutes. We tackled 10 easy minimalist rules to declutter your home. But remember, decluttering is a journey, not a destination. If clutter starts to creep back in, don't be discouraged. For even more epic organization hacks, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. And if you're still battling a particularly stubborn clutter monster, leave a comment below. Together, we can conquer anything. Thanks for joining me on this journey, and until next time, happy organizing.